All right, and for our next guest, of course, there is one and only. I really don't need to read it. He is B.E. Smith from Weed Country. Please welcome to the stage the one and only. If you watch Weed Country, the Discovery Channel, this is B.E. Smith.
I gotta walk around, I can't stand in one spot.
And tape it.
My name is B.E. Smith. I live in Denny, over in Trinity County. Beautiful little box canyon. We might have 15 families living there, 3 kids. There's more people here today than there are in the whole canyon. And that includes deer hunters that comes up once a year. And this is where my family grew up in Central Valley. A lot of you guys in Central Valley in here? All right. Yeah, I lived here about 36 years ago. This is where the kids went to school. And then when I got out of the system, the winter of 78, 79, I went to Denny and been there ever since. Been growing medicine ever since. Did 2 years in federal pen for the first medical test case in California. I got screwed. I found out, that's when I found out that if you want justice, you go to a whorehouse. If you want to get fucked, you go to a whorehouse. That was a long time ago. I've been growing medicine now for 36 years, and I don't plan on quitting until I'm belly up. I started growing medical back in the winter of 78, 79, because being a war veteran, I was pretty screwed up upstairs. And when I quit drinking and started smoking medicine, I knew I found my drug, and I quit drinking the same day. Guy over there wearing that pink shirt, he was with me. I pulled my beer out, and after I took my first hit, and I've been smoking it ever since. And I don't want to talk to you about that today. I wanted to talk to you about your liberties. I love talking about your liberties, and mine too. And while I was up there in the backcountry, growing my medicine for the first 12, 14 years before medicine came out, back in '96, I needed something to do. Growing pot in the backcountry, if you can do time, you could be a guerrilla grower in the backcountry, but you got to be able to do time because you're sitting on the side of a hill, just taking care of the girls 24/7. You go out every couple months, get some food, and so I needed something to do. So I started studying the Constitution, and I never put it down. I think about it every few minutes, and I'm awake all day long. I think about the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and Declaration of Independence, and how to try to get a message out that I discovered. Well, I first discovered the procedures, how to beat them back in 94 and 95 is when I was trolling for cops. I would take a dirt bike and ride around town until a cop pulled me over, and I would go through my routine procedures, and they didn't know what I was talking about. I had to educate them too, and that was scary because I knew I was in trouble and they didn't know what the hell the law said. But I was way back in 92 was when I first did it in Weaverville. Then I came over to Reading and did it the following year, and I had a TV show down in South Reading, live TV talk show. I don't know if some of you might remember that. And I did that for 18 months before the Reading, California City Council and Viacom TV had an emergency meeting and said that they was going to shut the TV station down if they didn't pull my show. because I was, and this is in the Reading Searchlight, if you want to go back and read the article, front page. And, because I knew the procedure not how to beat them. It's a scam. The whole victimless triangle we got going in this country is a scam. And over the years, I put it together of how they did it, more or less. And it's a bar association, you know. They're the one that did it, bar association. I don't like some of the guns, and neither did God, you know. Martyrs are the only profession in the Bible that has a curse on them. Woe unto you, martyrs. Yeah, they had a curse. And I got a lot of friends as attorneys. They know who I am, they know what I believe in, and they understand it, but every one of them will tell you they don't teach you this in law school. Well, of course not. If they did, they couldn't pull the scam off. And the scam goes deep. I mean, it goes deep. Any victimless crime in this country is a scam on us. It's a scam. And I can show you in the law books. I can start telling you about your liberties by telling you about the Declaration of Independence. And that's where you have to go back to the Declaration of Independence. Before that, we had English law, English common law. But when we won our independence from Britain in July 4, 1776, it changed from English law to American law, American common law. And it was the only time in the history of mankind that we adapted that form of society, or that form of government, a Republican form of government. Ben Franklin said it was a unique republic. And what he meant by that was, for the first time in mankind again, free people was able to own their own property, free and clear, and do anything they wanted to do with it, without no control, without no taxes on it. And it's the same today. James Madison, who knows a lot about the Constitution, he said our rights are perpetual. So what rights that they had, we got it. But we have to know what those rights are. We have to know when to exercise them. And I'm not talking as I don't know, a word maybe, rebellion. I'm not talking that. I'm talking education, okay? Let me educate you for a few minutes, and you'll walk out of this room thinking different than when you walk into it, because you know that you have liberties, okay? All right, we'll start with the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776. Second paragraph, first sentence says, "We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal and have certain inalienable rights." Okay? Now, there's two things about that sentence. You're a creator and inalienable rights. The only person, or the only thing that can give you inalienable rights is your creator. No one else can give you inalienable rights. The government can't give you inalienable rights. They didn't create you, so they can't give you inalienable rights. They can give you civil rights, but they can't give you inalienable rights, and only your creator can do that. Now, what are some of your inalienable rights? In the Constitution of California, in the Declaration of Rights, the first chapter in the Constitution of California is what is known as Declaration of Rights. It's kind of like the 10 amendments to the federal Constitution. But the first section in the California Constitution says, all people are by nature free and independent and have certain inalienable rights. Among these are enjoying and defending life, liberty, acquiring, possessing, and protecting property, and pursuing and obtaining happiness, safety, and privacy. My eyes are So anytime that you have an inalienable rights, government can't get involved with it, okay? And that was one thing unique about our republic that Ben Franklin was talking about. We had inalienable rights. All the Englishmen, they were subjects. The king was God to them. They were subjects. They were born subjects. We're born free and independent. Okay? Each one of us. We're not born as a prude. We're not born a democracy. And by the way, a democracy is the worst form of government ever invented by man. It is. If I have a creator and I got to prove my worth here on earth, and one day I'm going to be judged by him, I don't want to have to go through my life having the majority tell me what I can do and what I can't do, because I got to stand before my God. And I didn't want to do it because you guys decided I got to do this. It don't make sense to me. So, private property is such a heavy thing between you and your creator. The 10 Commandments, 20% deal with private property. 20%. You know, my creator thinks a lot about private property. And so anything that has to do with your private property, now private, the legal definition of private, and when I say legal definition, if you got an internet and you do research, go to the 1828 Westford Dictionary, and you can type in a word and give you the definition instantly. And you try to use the words to define something at the time it was written. Now, the 1828 Dictionary came, 45 years after the signing of the Constitution. So there's not a big change in the definitions than what our founding fathers used. But if you use today's definition, you know, when I was a young kid in Alabama going to school, I had a teacher named Miss Valentine, and every morning she would say, "Good morning, class. You look gay."
Happy.
We knew what she was talking about. But if you said that today, some kid might pull his gun out and shoot you. You know. So, you know, we'll try to use the definitions that our founding fathers used. And the definition of private is to the exclusions of others, to the conclusions of others. I mean, it's none of your business. This is my property. This is my kingdom. The only way you can get on here is through a warrant, either to search me or to arrest me. Otherwise, stay off. And if you're going to get a warrant, then you gotta have a victim. You know you gotta have a victim to commit a crime. You got to. It's impossible not to have a victim. Now, where the hell is a victim in smoking cannabis? Who's a victim? There's no victim. But yet I gave 27 months of my life for that test case I did. I know guys are still in prison that been 14 years since I've been out, and they're still in prison for victim crimes. And it's really a big scam. There's no victim. There's no victim. In procedures, the Fifth Amendment says that all crimes shall be tried by indictment. Okay? With that in mind, you don't, an indictment is an action. A complaint is an action. Notice to appear is an action. And information is an action. So what creates an action? Okay? In the Code of Civil Procedures, I think section 20, is section 27 maybe, 26, It says an action arises out of, number one, an injury to the body, number two, an injury to the property, or a violation of a contract. Those are the three things that creates an action. Now, when they come at you with a complaint, for instance, if there's no injury to the body, injury to the property, or a violation of contract, someone's BSing you. Someone's BSing you. And they're not doing this intentionally. They just don't know. They just don't know. They just grew up like we all did, and we got come in court. We talk bad about coming to court now, the new way they're going to teach in public schools. They come and court us like hell when we was young people. They had us in a democracy, and we were in a republic. You're not born a citizen today. You're not born a citizen. You're born free and independent, right? Now, who's born citizens? Now, this is where the confusion in law, in American law is, and it happened with the 14th Amendment. Now, the 14th Amendment came about, they had the 13th, 14th, and the 15th came about at the same time. The 13th made it illegal for slavery. The 14th Amendment changed the slaves from property to human beings, and the 15th Amendment gave them civil rights. Now, the 14th Amendment says that all people born are naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens. And so they're citizens. They was turned into citizens. And then all naturalized people from Europe and from Africa descent, black from African descent, they became naturalized citizens. Okay. That made them a citizen of the United States and the states because of the 14th Amendment. And they have the same rights as a free and independent person over here, the same, because of the due process clause. Every right that we have before the blacks came, they have now. Every one. There's no difference between the two. This is how it had to been done, because it had to been done on paper, because it was in the rule books. And so that's where the screw up was, because they put everyone under the 14th Amendment. They put everyone. And so that's where we are at now with the courts. We're 14th Amendment citizens, whereas we should be free and independent, and they should recognize the common law, and they don't. We haven't. We're in common law right now. As we're talking right now, we're in the common law realm. Because you came here on your own, and you can leave on your own. No one's restraining you. You're a free person. You see? That's how that works. Only unless someone has your liberties restrained do you have rights. You don't need rights right now. No one's restraining your liberty. So you don't need no rights. But when someone grabs a hold of you, now you got rights. And you better know what and how to use them. Because they don't know how to use them. It was about 6 years ago, I supported the sheriff in Trinity County, and a friend of mine and I went to a campaign meeting, dinner, and we was talking to the sheriff, and one of the ladies that was his campaign manager, and she worked in the courthouse forever in Riverville, and she was there in the courtroom when they first brought me to the magistrate. When I first did my ride on a motorcycle to test my procedures out, and we got to chatting, and she says, "Hey, B.E., I was there the day that they first brought you to the magistrate." And I said, "Yeah, I remember you." And she retired now. After when I was talking to her, she she was retired. So it's been about 25 years. And I said, yeah, I'll remember you. And she said, you know what? No one in that courtroom knew what he was doing. That's true. They didn't know. Not even the judge. And I walked out. I didn't sign nothing. I won. Because you have to give your signature to waive a right. And when you sign a notice to appear, or if you make bail, or if you make a plea in court, you're waiving your right as a free person. Because if there's no victim, you're waiving your right. And your right you're waiving is a writ of habeas corpus. And all that boils down to is due process. You want due process. And your due process is the Fourth Amendment. That's where it starts. Your Fourth, Fifth, Sixth, and Eighth Amendment are your criminal procedures. Your Seventh Amendment is your civil procedures. Okay, and they're coming along. The first 10 amendments are coming along. Now there's a lot of confusion, and I need a good example of where the confusion is because that 14th Amendment was screwing us up. Everyone knows about the gun laws, the Second Amendment. Everyone's fighting one way or the other, right? You got Second Amendment nuts, and you got anti-nuts, all right? I read it all the time on the internet. And the people that are pro-Second Amendment, they scream because they're passing laws to take your gun rights away. They're not. They haven't passed one law to take a Second Amendment right away. They don't have no authority to do it. So why are they making these laws? They're making it for the people that they created. The 14th Amendment citizens, the natural life citizens, and the people that work for the government. When you go to work for the government, you have to take an oath of office, which is a contract, or you have to sign a contract to go inside that government and work. You got to do it. There's no way around it. So you give up your freedom and your independence through a contract to go in and work for the government. Now they have a right to regulate you and control you and tell you what you can do. And they have a right to regulate your guns while you're working in that contract. But as a free and independent person, no one can pass a law because the Second Amendment forbids it. It's real simple to understand that no law can be passed. Every judge in the country can read that. Even a third grader can read it. My great grandson read it for me. And he's 8 years old, 7 years old. So they know what the words mean. They just don't know what the hell common law and statutory law or law of equity. See, there's common law and law of equity. And the government comes under law of equity. All governments, municipal, city, county, state, federal, they're corporations. They're corporations. They're created by paper. They can only do what statutes tells them to do. That's why the Constitution applies to the government. It don't apply to you and I. The only thing that applies to us is the Declaration of Independence and the first 10 amendments to the Bill of Rights. That's what pertains to us. That's what gives us our liberty. And yet, so many people voluntarily go into the system and because that's when they're born, they get out of school and they jump into the system not knowing anything about the beginning. When I started learning where my liberties are, I went back to the very beginning. And that's why I found them. When to get over into law of equity from common law, you have to sign a contract or you have to commit a crime, and then they can bring you over in the law of equity to prosecute you and whatever. And in criminal jurisdiction, they have to acquire jurisdiction. That's because they don't have jurisdiction. They have to acquire it. In civil equity law, you have to convey jurisdiction to them before they can hear the case. You're trying to sue someone, so you got to give that judge or the court permission to hear the case. But in this, you convey it. But in criminal, they acquire it. And they can only acquire it if there's a victim, unless you waive that right. They can't waive the right for you. Only you can waive your own right. No one else can do it for you. And your right to due process is a writ of habeas corpus. You can do a writ of habeas corpus verbally, like I'm talking to you now, or you can do one on paper, which is the 14th Amendment citizen writ of habeas corpus. You can do any one you want. You're a free person. You can do any damn thing you want to do, as long as you don't hurt no one. And that's how you control the government. You don't control the government by voting. You control the government by you knowing what private means. Stay out of that system. You don't have to go into it unless you want to. You go into it for a benefit. That's up to you. But you're not required to, because why? You're born free and independent. Free, you can do anything you want, as long as you don't hurt anyone. And this country worked great for about 100 years, and then it started getting bad. And now I don't know if we're going to keep it or not. I really don't. If you want to know my opinion where we're headed, a civil war. A lot of people say a revolution, but no. You only get one revolution, and we already had ours back in 1776. All you got now, until the end time of the government, you got civil wars. And you don't want to have a civil war. You don't. How many people have ever been shot at? I got shot at. You know, you don't want to get shot at again, do you? You get goosebumps. And it's going to happen if we don't straighten our society out. I don't blame the government. I don't. I blame us. Because we're humans. Government is paper. They're a corporation. And you have to make yourself an employee of that corporation to go to work for them. And you got to do it with a contract. You see? Anyone has a right to go into the government to keep that circle going if they want to. But they got to pay the taxes to keep it going. And this stuff about taxes on the home, that's BS too. Okay, has everyone seen a Forest Service map? Okay, it's green, okay? Then every once in a while you find little white dots in there, or square boxes or whatever. Those are private property, right? Okay. Now, when the boundary of California is not only those four lines, north, south, east, and west, and the coast, they also have a boundary around pieces of private property. So, you are not within the state because you're not within the state boundaries. Why? Because the state boundaries is on the outside of your private property. Okay? So you're not really even a California person. You're a private person. No one knows you're there. You're the king of your castle or the queen of your castle. Okay? We got a great system, but we lost track of it, folks. We did. My parents went to sleep, and their parents went to sleep, and we didn't keep it. And Ben Franklin, when he told that lady about the unique republic, she asked Ben Franklin, she says, what kind of government did you give us? And Ben Franklin says that he said, we gave you a republic right now, if you can keep it. See? If you can keep it. And we're losing it. It's because we don't take enough time to work as a society to get this thing turned around. When I was a young boy, America was hard to beat. It was. You older people, I see you in here. you know, it was nice, wasn't it? When we was kids, it was nice. I loved it. You did too, see? And so, to learn about your liberties, you're just going to have to dig in and do it. I'll help as much as I can. I don't mind driving down here and giving classes, giving lectures, whatnot. I'm working on a book now. If I get off my butt to do it, work on it all the time. And I have a hard time putting it on the computer. I can type fast, that ain't no problem. It just, you get ready to cut me off. I'm just starting. Hey, thank you for coming today. I really appreciate it. I wish a lot of old timers in this movement that have been here, you know, Jack here, a friend of mine. Jack did so much for this movement. I get tears when I think about Jack. And Dennis Perone, wasn't for him, I doubt if we had Prop 215. And I'm glad to see all you young people. I do. Learning. We didn't have a chance to learn. I'm one yellow. We didn't have a lot of chance to learn because everything was hush hush. We had to talk in the dark. But when this movement, when we passed Prop 215, we have made leaps and bounds. And I'm so happy. And the thing that I'm most happiest about is the children. That's the most. When we can do something for the children medically that the other pharmaceutical companies can't do, I'm all for it. I'll put my ass on the line anytime for kids. God bless you.